Hey, everybody, welcome back to another episode of the Traveling Therapist Podcast. I'm excited to have our guest today. She is doing a ton of cool stuff, and I cannot wait to tell you all about her. But Maren Londahl-Smidt, I always butcher everybody's names. You guys know this about me, is here with us today. Maren, can you please correct your name if I pronounced it incorrectly and also
You actually
share?
did great.
Oh, thank you
You
so much.
you got spot on. So I am very impressed.
Thank you.
We're off to a good start.
Can you tell everybody how you went from just being a traditional therapist to a traveling therapist?
Yes. So I will make this as short and sweet as I can. So I was working in a healthcare system during the pandemic, and I was in a doctor's office, embedded there doing brief therapy and working multiple jobs. I was still doing PRN work for the ER that I used to work at. And I just knew that I wanted something more. And to live that life, there was no way that I would be able to do that with what I was doing. I couldn't just have one job. And so that took me to private practice. And then love doing my one on work. I'm still a practicing therapist and love it. But I knew there was something more and I love to travel. It was just one of those things, kind of my why really is, and I think that's what we all have to figure out is where is this coming from? What excites us? And I needed something more that excited me. And so that's whenever I branched into the coaching side as well.
So cool. So tell us about the coaching side. First, I want to know, like, how did you get into this niche that they don't know what your niche is yet, but let's talk about that because that's not typically something therapists do anyway, like dealing with numbers and all of that stuff. So let's tell them what you do. And then I'd love to hear like the backstory. Like, how did you even fall into this niche? Because it's super interesting, really. Yeah.
Yeah, so you're right. There's not a whole lot of us. We're kind of a very small pocket of us that like money and our therapist, money and emotions. And really, a lot of it comes from my own story. And so I'd always kind of liked numbers. So my story was when I went from my W-2 job to full-time private practice, I had no idea how to pay myself. I didn't know how to set stuff, what I need to set aside for taxes. I didn't know how much to actually pay myself. I didn't know what I needed to make, my business needed to bring in to hit my income goals. So I did a lot of my own personal work and I went through YNAB coaching, which is also called Union of Budget. It was awesome. I loved it, but it only focused on the personal side. And so it didn't bring the business in. And then I did some other coaching that focused on the business side, but did not bring in the personal side. And so that's where everything really came together. And I was actually doing one-on-one coaching with Patrick Castell, and we had 4 sessions. And in our fourth session, he said, "So what do you want to talk about today?" I said, I had nothing planned. And I go, let's talk about alternate streams of income. And so that's where we identified coaching and to really focus on the financial piece and how can therapists actually be profitable. And at that point, it was, do I develop my own program or do I get certified in something that's already proven, already out there, and I know works? And that's where I came across Profit for Keeps. And Amber Duggar is the founder of that. She's also a Profit First professional. I went through it as a client first. And within my first couple of days, I said, oh my gosh, this is the missing piece. Now I know what needs to happen for me to meet these goals versus I'm just working to work because I know I want to do these things, but I don't know how to actually get there.
So you went through the course. What did you have in mind? Like, I'm going through the course so that I can then teach this course to other therapists? Or was it like, I'm just going to go through this course and see what happens kind of thing?
Kind of twofold because I knew I wanted to do something with coaching, but I wasn't quite sure with the commitment because to me, it's going to take me about a year. So I'm still in my certification process. And so I'm one of the certification candidates, and I'm actually the first therapist that will be bringing it to our world. So there's no other therapists that are actually using this and able to coach with it right now, which is really exciting. So whenever we talked, I said, oh gosh, that sounds great, but that's a really big commitment. So I decided, let me get through it first with a client to really experience this and see what it's about. And within a week max, I already knew. I said, okay, yeah, this is what's missing. I know if I need this, there has to be so many other people that need it as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, therapist, oh my gosh, notoriously, like, it's like, "Hey, I'm just gonna help people, and I have no idea actually what I'm doing at all."
Yes, exactly, exactly. I mean, because we need to give ourselves permission to be profitable. Because if we don't take care of ourselves, our nervous system is going to be constantly in reaction mode and we can't take care of our people.
So true. So tell us, like, an overview of Profit for Keeps for somebody that's never heard of it. Maybe you can just give a little overview of what it is and how it works and all that stuff. There's probably a lot to it, but
Well, it's interesting because it's actually, there is a lot to it, but it's very simple. And so, really, what we're doing is we're starting out and figuring out what do you want your money to do? Our money is meant to be used. We want to enjoy it. So yeah, we could have 5 years of savings in the bank and we never do anything, but we're not enjoying our money at that point. And so that's really what the base of it is. And what we're doing is we're reverse engineering our revenue goal. So the first thing we're doing is we're getting very specific, not just saying, oh, I need to make $8,000 a month or whatever that is. We're saying we need to make $8,342.51. And we know every expense that we need and expenses that we don't even think about, car tires, our health insurance deductible, whatever that might be. And we start with the personal first so we know what our business needs to do. And then we move into our business expenses because they're not quite as personal and not as many emotions tied to it. We get really stuck in our personal expenses. And then we're also working on whatever that plan is. Are we in debt? How do we stay ahead versus constantly being on that credit card game? And then at the end, we actually have very specific percentages. So every time I get something hits my bank account, I know exactly what I need to pay myself. I know exactly what needs to go to my tax account. I know what to put aside for business expenses. And then the other one is the profit account. And so that's, once a quarter, you're doing great work in your business. Part of it's your emergency fund and just really figuring out this is your bonus. What do you want to do with it? We don't get bonuses when we work for ourselves.
no. Well, you said. It sounds like you factor that in. Yeah.
Yes, and actually tomorrow is profit distribution day, which I didn't realize.
Ooh,
Yeah,
nice.
so tomorrow's quarterly distribution day, which is one of my favorite days of the year because I actually get to see what it's doing.
Is that like every quarter you just look back at what your earnings were the last quarter and then you've got a percentage already set aside, like whatever it was, this is what my like dividend or I don't know what you call it, distribution will be?
Yeah, so what I do, the cool thing about Profit for Keeps is that you don't need all these different bank accounts. So we're actually using YNAB. You need a budget. That's our dashboard. Every time I get paid, I move money to that account. And so then tomorrow on Profit Distribution Day, I know exactly where it needs to go. Part of it stays there for my emergency fund with my business. So let's say I broke my ankle and I couldn't walk or go anywhere. I need to know that my business can still stay afloat. And then the other part goes to me personally. And then I figure out, hey, do I want to save for that trip? Do I want to go on that retreat? Do I want to do this thing with my family? Whatever that might be.
And how far out do you decide that with this model? Like, do you say, I want to go on 2 retreats next year, and then it's like an annual kind of review thing, or how far out do you plan these things?
I think it kind of depends on the person, honestly, because I know people that once a year they sit down and they plan their business, their personal, and they really lay it out. I'm somebody that I kind of go with energy. So I know a lot of what my goals are and what I want to do, but I also have flexibility in it. And I think that's what's so important is we can have flexibility. So let's say we got invited on this trip. Actually, I'll give you a great example. A friend of mine, her 40th birthday was a couple years ago and she went to Cabo and somebody else was supposed to come with her and didn't get her passport in time. So she calls me like 3 or 4 days before and says, hey, if you get your flight, I already have everything taken care of. Of course, I'm going to make that happen. I will get my flight. And it was one of the best trips I had. But if I didn't have the money, I would have just gone in credit card debt. So then I can look at that and say, you know what? I've actually been let's say, saving to renovate my kitchen or for a down payment for a house, but I can take that and say, you know what, I'm going to shift it because right now this is really important to me. And then I'm going to come back to rebuilding that.
Nice. So it doesn't have to be so rigid. It's responsible and it's forward looking, but it doesn't have to be so rigid. It's not like I can't take out of this pot if it's something that comes up that's super important to me.
Yeah,
I like that.
exactly. And that's the same thing with our budget and how it works in YNAB is, I look at something and I might say, I have a category for eating out, but I really want to go to this concert that's happening. And I can't do both of them. So which one's more important to me? So I could pull money from going to eat out to the concert fund. And that just means I can't eat out as much. And that doesn't mean it's a bad thing. It's just saying this is what's most important to me right now.
Yeah, that is really great. So, for the traveling therapist listening, what's a simple money step that they can take just even this week to feel more secure and organized in their money systems? Do you have like a tip for that just to kind of get them started?
Yes. Well, I think my number one thing, and this is what I always tell people, is we want to have a cash flow system in place to organize. Because if we're just going in and fine and I don't know what I have, we need to start somewhere. Profit for Keeps is a cash flow system. And what it is saying is what is going in and out of your bank account for both your business and your personal. We can have the best business system in place, but that's not connecting to our personal. And so if we don't have that, we want them to connect so we can do the things in our personal life. So let's say you want to go live in Costa Rica for 6 months. I actually just heard somebody tell me that not too long ago. And you can do that, but we want to figure out how do we organize our cash flow and what's actually in our bank account so we can make that happen. And if we have too many, it gets tricky because it's overcomplicating them. And so if we're doing this and doing this, then we just shut down and we don't do it at all.
Yeah, gotcha. Are there some expense categories that you can't touch versus ones that are a little more flexible? Is there like rules around it or?
I would say really no. I mean, our tax category, we don't want to touch that. But, well, actually, no, I'm going to take a step back. Our profit account. So I have the profit, so today I have a profit account that I'm putting money in, and then I have a profit account that I'm holding there. So that's my emergency fund for my business. And so let's say that something happens and I can't work for a month or two. That's where I would look at that and say, okay, this is here. So I know that I'm going to be okay. I know that if something happens, I've already planned for it. And so I really tried not to touch that category if all possible.
Yeah, okay, that makes sense. The question I get all the time from traveling therapists is like, one, they're like, how the heck are you doing this? Like, I can't even figure out how to get my head above water to be able to like get
Yes.
organized enough to do this. But I just wonder, do you have like strategies, tips, thoughts around, somebody that wants to prioritize travel and how do they prioritize it within this system to make sure that they're able to like kind of live that lifestyle? Do you have strategies, tips around that?
Absolutely. So I think the thing that I love about the system is it's saying we need to be profitable first. So we need to make ourselves a priority and give ourselves permission to make money. It is okay to be profitable as a therapist. And when we do that, we can really lean into having a sustainable business. I know people do it, they see 30 plus clients a week. I can't do that. That's not sustainable for me. I'm going to burn out really, really fast. And so I think, just really saying, I need to prioritize myself first and I need to make it a priority of paying myself. So what we need to do is we need to connect your business with your personal life to really figure out what does that look like? What does your business actually need to bring in for you to be able to travel like this? And I don't care if that's $10 a month or $10 million a month. I'm not here to judge that, but we want to get real with actually what's happening and what you're working towards.
I love that. I preach it. Yeah, it's like, let's
Yes.
just make this a category of money is going towards this, even if I can't go to Starbucks or whatever, because people want to do it so much and they can't in a lot of ways. I mean, they can, they think they can't. I guess I should put it that way. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we think we can, but then when we look at it, I actually did one of my blueprint sessions with somebody a couple weeks ago. And she said to me, and she had this aha moment, and she goes, "This is why I can never get ahead," because she didn't realize that her spending was not aligned with her business. So
Yeah.
she was never ahead. And so it was just that moment of, oh, this is actually what I need to do to be able to get here. And it also lets us see, if we want to travel, let's build that into our budget and our goals and figure out, what do we need to do in our business for that to happen? Do we need an alternate stream of income? Do we need to get off an insurance panel, or, do something different?
Yeah.
And there's no right or wrong in that. It's your business and your values. It's just figuring out what you feel okay with.
Yeah, and that mindset stuff. I mean, it's just like it holds so many people back, these rules, and you get stuck in these mindset ruts and you just can't get out of them. That's why we need people like you to like shake it up and give a little clarity around your blueprint sessions and your coaching and all of that. So, one thing I love that you talk about is the reverse engineering. Can we talk about that? Because we talked about it before we hit record, but that's a key thing that I think almost every therapist just skips right over. They just jump into, I gotta make money, but there's not a lot of thought process around, like, this reverse engineering concept, so I'd love if you could, like, explain that and how it works.
Oh, absolutely. So actually, I think this is one of the biggest pitfalls, is we have generic revenue goals. Somebody says that they're charging X amount, so we need to charge that. And somebody says, well, this is my income goal, so we make that our income goal. Well, our life looks very different. Our business looks very different. So we need to get very specific with our picture and figure out what that is. And so we start with the personal finances first. And that's really what we do. And we get really clear. So in our blueprint sessions, what we do is we really spend a lot of time on the personal finances to figure out, okay, what is this actually for us? What are we actually missing? Because I can just about guarantee, even if somebody has done budgeting before, I've never had a blueprint that they have everything that they need on there.
Oh, yeah, for sure. I'm sitting here thinking, like, what are all the things I would need to look at, like, if I really sat down and did something like that? And when we're saying reverse it, it's like starting from, I mean, I don't know what you call it or anything, but I would imagine it's like a lifestyle design kinda thing. Like, I wanna take 8 weeks of vacation a year, and I don't wanna work when I'm a traveling therapist. I don't wanna be that type of traveling therapist. I just wanna be a therapist to travel, so I want 8 weeks off. How can I make that work? Like, starting from that vision and then, like, working backwards to, okay, that means I've got to charge like $300 a client or something.
Exactly. So we need to get clear on where is the gap as well. So, what do we want our money to do is one of the big things. That's number one. We want our money to bring us joy. We call it profit for joy, is what it's actually called. And so that's where we want our money to have intention behind it. Because if we want to take 8 weeks off a year, we need to be intentional about that and plan for those 8 weeks off a year. And maybe those 8 weeks are traveling, or maybe they're staying at home. And maybe when you travel, you want to work or do retreats or whatever that might be. And I'm not here to judge that. It's just saying, what do we need to plan so we can make that happen? So we're not in reaction mode all the time. And then then we go on social media and see everybody else. Well, this person is doing this and they're doing that, and I want to be there. There's no way that I can get there. There is. We just have to figure out where the gaps are.
Oh, yeah. That's such good advice. So, what does it look like if somebody calls you up or schedules a call with you for a blueprint session? Like, what does that look like? Is it like a multi thing, or maybe you could just tell somebody what to expect if they were to do something like that? Because I feel like this is the missing part for a lot of therapists that just feel so stuck.
It really is. When I came across this system, I knew immediately that this needed to be brought to our world. And it was just one of those moments I said, okay, this is what is missing. So, what the process is I always do a call, a discovery call, or a strategy call with somebody, because I want to get clear and make sure this is right for you. I'm not somebody that, just because you come to I can't say door anymore, my Zoom call.
Virtual Zoom room or
Yeah, whatever we want to call it these days. So I'm not somebody that says everybody that comes through has to do my program. I want you to be a really good fit for it. And I want to get really clear on where your pain points are. Where are you struggling? Is it, I don't know what I need to make, or I'm always ahead, or I don't know how to make extra income. And I want to see what your business looks like, what it's set up. I want to get really clear on what support you actually need. And once we figure that out and decide to move forward with Profit for Keeps, the first part is our financial blueprint. And that's, our finances are truly the foundation of our business. If we are not clear on that, more clients doesn't necessarily mean more money. And we think that a lot. What we need to look and say, what's rocky here? What's shaky? And that's where the blueprint helps us figure out what's actually happening in our business. And then we start with our personal expenses and actually implement all the principles and get everything set up. And then after we get our personal set up, then we actually moved on to the business. And then I want you to have confidence with it so you can continue to implement this on your own. I'm not here to say, I want you to be with me for 10 years. I want to get this in place and I want you on your way so you can do what you need to do in your business and life.
Yeah. Oh, that's amazing. That sounds so
Yes.
helpful.
It's wonderful. I've seen it just be a game changer for so many people, and it truly is the missing piece. And we want to get clear with our different expenses, true expenses is what I like to call them. And those are your yearly expenses, but we don't save for them until we have that $700 car insurance due. And then we say, oh my gosh, I don't have it. So if we save for that on an ongoing basis, and that's part of the setup, so we're not hit with these surprises.
Yeah. Tell us all the ways. I know we talked about it before, but you're traveling and incorporating this coaching into traveling. Can you tell us how you're doing that just for people listening? If they're like, you know what, I've got a niche too. I could do something like this. Could you talk about that a little bit? How you're working it
Yeah,
all
so
in
I do a
together?
couple different things. I always tell people it depends on the day. So I've started doing more speaking, and so I'm actually going to Costa Rica in January, and with Danielle Lambert, and so we're super excited about that. And then we've got three of us that are going to be there speaking real life coaching. We're going to be doing intensive. So I love doing stuff like that. But when I do that, I also love to stay a little bit extra so I can actually enjoy my time. Not that I won't enjoy it the whole time, but if I'm going to be in Costa Rica, I'm going to be in Costa Rica.
Yeah. You better have some days where you could actually just chill.
Yes. Yes. And I'm a lifelong equestrian. So I ride and show horses. I've taken a couple years off from it. So that's something that I'm getting back into. And so that actually has a good bit of travel with it, whenever I'm showing, not necessarily internationally, but, the kind of couple states surrounding. And so that's something that's also really important to me. So what I do with those is see, okay, is this something that I really want to do? Now, when I was in my 20s, I was doing that a lot more and traveling at least once or twice a month doing that. But I had to grow up and be an adult. So
Yeah. Unfortunately.
I know. But that's something that I enjoy doing. And so whenever I look at the big picture, I think, okay, these are the things that are important to me that I actually want to do. And this is how I want to set it up. And even with my therapy clients, I don't want people that are in crisis and need me every single week because I don't want to be on vacation and get that phone call and have to constantly be on my phone. I actually want to enjoy that.
I love that. We talk about that a lot on this podcast. Like, if you want to do this lifestyle, consider low acuity type clients,
Yes.
right? Instead of severe trauma, PTSD, meeting 3 times a week, that kind of thing. Or do intensives if you want to do that, but do them like once a month and then give them back to their primary therapist.
Yes, exactly. So I'm here when you need me, but I'm not your everyday person.
Exactly. Such good tips. So where do people find you if they want to work with you, if they want to learn more about Profit Keeps and how to put this into their life?
Absolutely. So my website is www.balanceandbeyondcoaching.com, and you'll be able to see Profit for Keeps on there. I also have an Instagram, Balance and Beyond Coaching. I've got a Facebook group, Profit for Keeps for Therapists, where I
Cool.
do a lot of different trainings in it, and we're continuing to do that, those sorts of things. I just started my YouTube channel. I have one on there right now, but TBD what that's going to look like. And they can go to my website and book a discovery call with me. So super easy on there. You can add me on Facebook, send me a message, whatever works for you.
Yeah, that's amazing. Well, I look forward to I think I'm
Yes.
already following you in all the places, but if I'm not, I'm gonna go.
Yes.
I think I'm in your Facebook group already.
Yes. I can't remember if we are or not. I feel like we're connected to so many places.
Yeah, I know.
that-
It's like, I know I see you everywhere.
yes. I know I see you. I just don't know where.
Yeah. Well, thanks for taking the time today. I really appreciate you coming on and being a guest.
Absolutely. And one other, I forgot to mention this, but I do have, it's going to be on October 21st, and I'll probably be doing more of them, but it's called the Profitable Therapist, the Financial Clarity Retreat. And so Amber Duggar, the founder of Profit for Keeps, is actually co hosting it with me. So we're doing it together, and it's really a group setting. We're still trying to figure out what the time's going to be. We're starting to do this to see, okay, what do people actually need? What's this going to look like? But we're going to walk through the blueprint with you. We're going to be there to guide you. And there is something powerful about being in a group setting to see what other people are doing, the questions. And it's really great for all seasons of therapists, whether it's somebody thinking about a private practice, oh, but I don't think I can afford this, or somebody that wants to do something differently or just wants to make more money.
Yeah.
So those are
Oh,
all
that's
really great.
exciting. Gosh, I don't think this will air by then, but I bet you're going to be doing these over and over again too. It sounds like it's going to be super helpful for people to continue to go through this. Yeah.
Yes, and I do some master classes as well
Oh,
on
nice.
how to be profitable, so you'll see those as well. So
I
you'll be
love
seeing
it.
more of this. Yes.
It's so great. Well, thanks for taking the time today.
Yeah, I'm glad we could do this, and whoever wants to reach out, connect with me, and here's to profitability.
Yes, I love that. And traveling.
Yes. Yes, traveling and being profitable and having a sustainable business so we can do it.
I love it. Thanks a lot.